welcome to the evening news for today, Saturday, March 5th, 2022. I am Timothy Jaikra and thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Teen critical after co-worker turned on cement mixer while he was inside. Joseph Harmon resigned as MP effective March 15th. No response from APNU AFC on proposed electoral reforms, says TEIXEIRA. Government examining new proposals for diversification at SKELDON Estate, says JAGDEO. And public perception a challenge in wildlife protection management, says GWCMC. Now for the news in detail. An 18-year-old laborer who is attached to the Forester Lumber and Building Complex is battling for his life at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation after a co-worker turned on a cement mixer, unaware that the teen was inside the machine cleaning it. Injured is Ricardo Nandalal of South Dikindran Line Top West Coast Demerara. He has injuries to his abdomen and his intestines are protruding. Around 15:45 hours on Friday, a doctor from Leonora Cottage Hospital contacted the police station and requested that a rank visit the institution in relation to the matter. Ranks were unable to speak with the victim and as such proceeded to the worksite at Stewartville, West Coast Demerara. There, the proprietor was questioned by the investigators where he revealed that the teen had gone into the mixer to clean it, but in the process, a 22-year-old operator who was unaware that the young man was inside the machine turned it on. When this happened, Nandalal began to scream. Upon realizing the mixer was turned off, and several other co-workers rushed to the teen's assistance and pulled him out of the machine. They then took him to the Leonora Cottage Hospital, where he was referred to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he remains in critical condition. The 22-year-old co-worker, who turned on the cement mixer, was detained by the police. Gerald Bryan joins us now to report that former opposition leader Joseph Harmon has submitted his resignation as a Partnership for National Unity Member of Parliament, paving the way for the new PNC leader, Aubrey Norton, to become the country's new opposition leader. Harmon's resignation takes effect from March 15th. Here are the details.
According to a well-placed source, APNU Member of Parliament Joseph Harmon has resigned from his seat in Parliament. It is understood that the resignation was submitted to Clerk of the National Assembly Sherlock Isaacs. Isaacs will then have had to transmit it to Speaker of the National Assembly Mansour Nadir. Harmon's resignation takes effect from March the 15th. Harmon previously stepped down as opposition leader in January of this year. That position is yet to be filled. People's National Congress PNC leader Aubrey Norton is widely seen as the frontrunner to become the new opposition leader. In fact, he has a mandate from the PNC executive to take up both that position and the position of representative of the list of candidates, which is currently headed by former PNC leader David Granger. However, Norton is yet to even become an MP. While Nicolette Henry, another APNU MP, had resigned last month, her resignation only takes effect on March the 31st. In a press conference on Tuesday last, Norton had disclosed that Granger, as representative of the list, has been asked to extract his name from the list for entry into Parliament.
Has the PNC made that recommendation to Mr. Granger already?
As far as I know, yes.
And, sir, have you heard whether Mr. Granger has made a submission, sir, to the Speaker of the National Assembly?
I don't know that he did, and I think that we'll have to await the resignation. Remember, the resignation is to the 31st of March. So there is not a vacant seat until the 31st of March.
Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
It is now some 4 months since the People's Progressive Party civic government published its proposed amendments for the Representation of People Act, and the main political opposition, the Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change coalition, is yet to make any recommendations. Lawanda McAllister tells us more.
This was revealed by Parliamentary Affairs and Governance Minister Gil TEIXEIRA during a televised program to reflect on the 2-year anniversary of the historic March 2nd, 2020 general and regional elections that resulted in a 5-month political impasse caused by blatant rigging attempts. In an effort to prevent the reoccurrence of those events, government last November released those proposed changes to the Representation of the People Act for public consultation consultation before the document is finalized and taken to the National Assembly. But TEIXEIRA disclosed that the responses have not been forthcoming as anticipated.
Interestingly enough, there haven't been a lot of responses. No response from APNU AFC. Maybe it's understandable, but I would still think they would respond.
According to TEIXEIRA, so far, submissions were made by one of the small political parties, APNU and Unity Guyana, as well as a number of non-governmental organizations and several overseas-based Guyanese individuals and bodies. In addition, the minister said that the Guyana Elections Commission also made some recommendations of their own.
GCOM put in their comments on the reforms and added additional reforms that they felt should be included. So we have to go in that direction. Clearly, though, the issue of preventing a repeat is multi-layered. It isn't only about law. And GCOM has an enormous task, that is to build back confidence in them. Their confidence, the public confidence in them is extraordinarily low. So they have, as a GCOM, as a constitutional body, have to be able to build back trust and confidence of the people. They're going into local government elections probably this year.
And overall of the country's electoral laws can see the chief elections officer at the Guyana Elections Commission facing as much as life imprisonment for committing fraud, while others can similarly face hefty fines and jail time for any related offense. Other persons involved in the electoral process can face fines as high as $10 million and can equally be jailed for life if they breach any provision as outlined in the proposed updated act. For the Evening News, LaWanda McAllister.
With the Guyana government looking to diversify the economy, active consideration is underway to introduce new activities at the SKELDON estate in Region 6. According to Vice President JAGDEO, the government has already received several proposals for new business ideas for the facility. Here is LaWanda McAllister again with the details.
At SKELDON, we are looking at diversify. So we have had several proposals now to do electricity from the cogeneration. We're thinking about some of the hemp, using the hemp legislation to convert some of the land into hemp, aquaculture, going back into sugar a bit, but as maybe in a smaller scale.
Vice President Dr. JAGDEO speaking during a recent online program with a social media commentator. The SKELDON estate was one of the 4 estates across the country that were shut down by the then Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change administration, forcing thousands of sugar workers on the breadline. As such, the People's Progressive Party civic government, after taking office in August 2020, have been looking in a more studied way at ways to diversify these estates with the introduction of new industries in order to create job opportunities for those displaced sugar workers as well as other persons in surrounding communities. The same, JAGDEO said, is being done at SKELDON.
So we can generate a series of employment opportunities at SKELDON for people who are displaced from the sugar industry. So we are looking at it in a many ways, in a more studied way.
He went on to disclose that some of the proposals that government have received for the SKELDON estate is for the generation of power from the cogeneration plant there. The SKELDON cogeneration plant, which has the capacity to produce 30 megawatts of electricity using bagasse from the sugar process, was designed to produce excess power that would be exported to the national grid. However, the plant is no longer working as a cogeneration system given the closure of the sugar factory. Back in October, JAGDEO had disclosed while addressing the retrenched sugar workers at SKELDON that discussions were ongoing with a number of potential investors who want to operate the cogen plant to sell power to the government. For the Evening News, LaWanda McAllister.
Stay with us, more news ahead.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Moving, lifting, or bending, whatever the job, we at Sylvie's Variety Store have the right tools to make it happen. Pallet jacks and hand trucks for bonds and industrial sites, easy pickup and convenient maneuvers. Chain hoist from Roughneck and Northern Industrial, the perfect solution to lifting heavy objects. And then there's the 12-ton and 16-ton hydraulic pipe benders from 1/2 to 2 inch. We also stock the shop press machine from Northern Industrial. Sylvie's Variety Store stocks the tools to make it happen.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The Local Government Commission has debunked several allegations that they have been made against the entity by Georgetown Mayor Ubraj Narain, which were labeled as inaccurate and erroneous in nature. Find out more in this report.
In a recently aired program with presenters Sherrod Duncan and Jarita Fernandes, Mayor Ubraj Narain alleged that the Local Government Commission is actively working to undermine the work of the Georgetown Mayor and City Council. Chairman of the Commission Julius Faber has since debunked these allegations, noting that they are inaccurate. He addressed the allegation made by the mayor that the commission receives political directives in conducting its work. The chairman pointed out that the Local Government Commission is a statutorily independent commission, and specifically Section 3(2) of the Local Government Commission Act prohibits the commission from receiving directions on the exercise of its functions from any external authority. Faber maintained that the LGC comprises a panel of 8 commissioners who were nominated by both sides of the political sphere and who have outstanding professional records in their respective fields. According to him, the commissioners are committed to dispatching their functions in an impartial and transparent manner in accordance with the law. In another matter, the mayor had claimed that the LGC dismissed some 7 employees of the council after disciplinary action was instituted against them. Here, Faber clarified that these workers were found to be directly involved in a financial embezzlement scheme within the City Treasurer's Department based on an investigation conducted by the Constabulary Department of the M&CC. He further observed that notwithstanding any purported disciplinary action taken by the council, the LGC, in accordance with Section 13 of the Local Government Commission Act, is the only institution which is authorized to sanction an employee of a local government organ. In circumstances of proven financial misconduct at the largest municipality in the country, the LGC has an explicit legal obligation to act decisively in sanctioning such conduct.
Guyana is home to a plethora of rare wildlife species, which require attention and intervention to sustain their presence and habitats. But in the management and protection efforts, the perception of public towards these creatures is a challenge. This was recently discussed in a panel on wildlife preservation. Here's a look.
The Guyana Wildlife Conservation and Management Commission facilitated a panel discussion this week titled Recovering Key Species for Ecosystem Restoration. Research officer at the Commission, Johan Waldron, pointed out that a majority of Guyanese do not immediately grasp the idea of protecting wildlife during such encounters, but are rather inclined to kill, capture, or eat the animal.
in many cases, like a few instances we had beforehand, again, a sea turtle, I think this time it was a hawksbill, I believe. I think it was a hawksbill. Nets were set on purpose to capture the hawksbill because it was seen in the vicinity of the Kingston foreshore. And the plan was to cook it. When it was caught, the plan was to cook it. However, somebody got wind of it and may or may not have purchased the turtle for about $2,000, thankfully. And we were able to, through partnership again with the Coast Guard as well as the Guyana Marine Conservation Society, have the turtle taken out to the mouth of the Demerara River and released into the Atlantic. So perception is one of the more daunting challenges that we face, and how we deal with that perception and impact.
When it comes to monitoring, navigating through the country's terrain is also challenging, coupled with an inadequate human resource complement.
Some terrestrial and riverine terrains are almost impassable dependent on the season in which you encounter them. Not to mention that Guyana is not all flat land, and in many cases, some of the animals that you look for aren't found on flat land either, or the plants. The staff component can also be another challenge that is faced. Guyana, while not considered one of the larger countries, is kind of big. So imagine having, let's say, about 10 people to cover the entirety of Guyana and to monitor wildlife-related activities or to enforce the the entire mandate of the commission. That is a bit of an uphill task, one which, regardless, we do take on, because again, as Ms. Collins would have said, the work has to be done.
The Guyana Wildlife Conservation and Management Commission is a national implementing and management body for the sustainability of wildlife in Guyana. It has made some strides within the past years, one of which was the introduction of seasons to protect species, since some were heavily targeted. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Agriculture in Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine, is doing well, with the country setting a new record in terms of rice production. Harvesting has commenced for the current rice crop, which is the largest in the history of rice cultivation in the region. Our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports.
64,000 acres are under rice cultivation in the region, breaking the previous highest by 2,000 acres. The region had a projected target of 62,000 acres and has achieved 105% of that target. Already, 27 acres have been harvested with a high production rate. On average, farmers are yielding 37 bags per acre. In the past, production was pegged at between 29 and 30 bags per acre. However, Regional Chairman David Armagon noted that the regional administration will have to give all of the assistance it can to ensure that dams are fixed so that farmers will be able to bring their paddy out of the fields.
We have had some degree of infestation with paddy bugs, but not significant enough to affect the crop in any way. Right? These are in very small areas. And the big areas like Blackbush and 5274 and so, and Crabble Creek, they're not affected by paddy bugs. So, in the past, we've had some problems with paddy bugs as well that affected the crops, and that would have resulted in reduced yield. But we don't seem to be having that problem right now.
According to the regional chairman, the achievement by rice farmers in the region is commendable, since it is coming on the heels of a massive flood that affected many agriculture communities. Because of that flood, only about 40,000 acres were under rice cultivation in Region 6 during the previous crop.
I think it has to do a lot with government assistance through the program that government, the cash grant, the help that the government was able to give to farmers, both in the rice industry, in the cattle industry, and in the cash crops, in the cash crop area. This would have helped tremendously.
As it relates to vegetables, he noted that there has been a decline in market prices for some.
So it means that the supply is getting greater which means that more and more persons are getting into cash crop farming. The impetus now is shade-house farming, because one, the yields are going to be better. Secondly, the possibility of infestation by insects and so is going to be minimized, and then you are not affected too much by weather conditions.
He added that the regional administration will be working closely with some farmers at Mara who are interested in getting into aquaculture. The administration will be assisting with the machinery for digging of fish ponds. Meanwhile, the aquaculture program on the coastline in the region continues. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Sunday, March 6, 2022 at 4 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbridge River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Sunday, March 6, 2022 at 10 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Sports Ministry partners with NSC, GTTA to launch Tennis Academy, and Ramdani siblings pick up ACAC awards in Canada. Details of these stories and more in the Sportscast sponsored by Macor, coming up on the other side of the break.
Try our virtual sports and win big with so much matches to choose from. Betting starts at $100. Play for your chance to win. Log on to www.superbet.gy or visit any one of our agents to place your bets. Terms and conditions apply. Have fun and play responsibly. Must be 18 and over to play.
Over the years, ISG has been providing all sectors across Guyana with quality products and outstanding customer service. Proud distributor of NP and Ultra lubricants, engineered for tropical conditions. International trucks and parts, leading the change. SEM Machinery, a Caterpillar brand. SKF bearings and mounted products. Napa batteries. Tide power generators. Discover the greatest source of power. Industrial Supply of Guyana Inc. The best opportunity to make the right choice.